And we are live.
All
right. Welcome to Winging It with John Moran. Actually, today we have a title today. Can you believe that?
Hey, look at that. We're getting better at this.
I know. Every single week, we're getting just a little bit better. And you know what the fun thing is that we're now taking these videos, and if you visit the Tier 11 site, you're going to be bombarded with me and John, like every time you go onto YouTube. or maybe if you don't go on our website, you're still going to get bombarded. Like, that's our big goal here. So this is like content for some of our pre-roll videos, which is actually going to be really cool. And it's already started, actually.
Yep. The title is Buy, Die, or Unsubscribe. Yeah.
Buy, Die, or Unsubscribe. That's exactly it. Well, thank you for joining us today. I think we're still trying to log into the old Twitter account for our lives, but apparently Elon Musk and Donald Trump can't even go live on Twitter on X. So if they can't, I don't know. I guess that means we can't. So anyway, sorry about that. I don't feel that bad. It's all right. I don't want to be put in their company either, at least for right now. But let's set the political stuff aside. Today,
we're bigger hands at work. There's a reason why they can't go live.
Yeah, there probably is some kind of SEC violation or something. Today, we're going to be talking about T-ROAS and TCPA. Which, if you're not a Googleophile, if you're not a Google nerd, if you're not a follower of John Moran, you probably don't even know what those two things are. So, there's a lot of terms here that if you're new to our lives, we will help decipher some John speak for you. If you're a longtime listener of John stuff and you're a convert from maybe the Solutions 8 days, when you guys used to do these every single Friday too, right? That was the schedule. Yeah. Yep. So I'd imagine we probably will get some of those folks coming along, but we're also getting some people that are watching these that might not know all these individual terms. So I will interrupt in case, because that was one of the pieces of feedback that we did get, because John does speak at
way too fast
speed. Way too like actually you've gotten better, I would have to say.
It's so painful. Oh my gosh, because like when I feel like I'm going too slow, it sounds normal, and my brain is like, "Hi everyone, I'm John." Have you ever seen the movie Zootopia?
No.
I have two little girls, so it's a movie called Zootopia. And it's basically an animated movie about like how animals are living in the city, and it's that's why they call it Zootopia. And one of the scenes is this guy from the DMV, and he's a sloth. And because that's sort of like worse than the DMV.
That's perfectly cast.
It's exactly right. And so they use sloths for the DMV people. And it's like, hey, I need to get this like registration. They're like, how are you doing? I'm like, I feel like that guy. Just a sloth. Like when I speak slowly, I'm like, oh, this is painful. And everyone's like falling asleep and no one's understanding what I'm saying as I'm going too slow. That's where my brain goes. So I don't know why. I just feel like I've been, going at double speed my whole life.
It's funny. There's some people that just speak fast, and you have to. Sometimes I need to slow them down, but in most cases, it's always like whenever I listen to anything on Audible, it's always like 1.2 speed. But then I started listening. I was like re-listening to Influence by Robert Cialdini, which is one of my favorite books. And he redid it, and he did it in his voice. He's actually doing the reading, and he talks so slow. I'm like, oh my God, I 2x him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. He's going to be a guest on Perpetual Traffic, which is pretty exciting. I'm pretty psyched about that. But yeah, he's the only person I listen to on 2x speed. I can't imagine listening to you on 2x speed.
Ears will bleed.
Yeah, ears would bleed, head would explode, more hair would fall out. I don't know what the hell. So, all right. So today we're going to go into T-ROAS and TCPA. For those of you, and I've seen you do this, like live on calls, on actual sales calls. You were on 5 sales calls this week, which is just a lot of fun.
It is. I love sales calls.
I love sales calls too. It's the greatest thing. So anyway, so you get John on sales calls now on Tier 11, which is actually pretty cool. And then he basically does a live diagnosis of whatever's wrong in the it starts maybe with the Google account, but then it might go over to Wicked Reports. It might go over to, well, not Wicked Reports, probably in the case of a sales prospect. It might go into other things. You're diagnosing what the problem is for the business based upon what you see inside Google, which is really cool and really directional. And oftentimes we do talk about TCPA, we talk about T-ROAS, and how they're maybe not being used correctly. And one of the biggest things I think when you go into Google accounts is that a lot of these tools are being not necessarily used in the correct way. Actually, you saw one this week where it was actually being really well optimized. The problem was the website, but most cases, most of this stuff is not being utilized in the right way. So if we could define T-ROAS and TCPA just for the crowd, and then sort of just give a broad overview as to how you see both of those being utilized depending on what the business is.
Yeah. So it's funny is target cost per acquisition is what TCA stands for. It's and T-ROAS is target return on ad spend. It's also what that stands for. There are two additional subsets of the conversion or the bidding strategies, maximize conversions or maximize conversion value. Now, what most people want to use, what most people end up using after some sort of time, or sometimes they start off on that, is a target cost per acquisition or a target return on ad spend. And what they're asking Google to do is say, hey, I need you to spend $500 a day, and I need you to produce me a result that's over a 300% ROAS. And then they launch it, and the thing just sometimes barely moves, or it won't spend the full budget, or it won't scale up. And that is something that most people have an issue with when they are trying to scale an account, because they say, well, when I remove the target cost per acquisition or when I remove the target return on ad spend, I get poor performance, but I get higher scale. And so what we have to take a look at when we're identifying how to use these bidding strategies is it's a massive undertaking of understanding. It is a very complex system, but every account is going to use it vastly differently through a multitude of variables. So as an example, when you have a short sales cycle in the industry, whatever industry you're in, the T-ROAS or TCPA is going to try to understand an existing flow of traffic to know when and how much should I bid for that person. It goes off individuals. It goes off of people. It's not what they call it is a bidding strategy. What it's really actually is a targeting strategy. It's really not a bidding strategy. Bidding would mean, what do I set my click to? What is my cost per click?
Right.
But that is not what Google wants. So Google's in this weird hybrid model where it's like you can set your own bids or I can sell you leads. Like that's kind of either or. And when it's targeted cost per acquisition, what you're leveraging is how much does Google know about that person or those group of people? And then also, am I willing to lose more profitability than my competitor? And then you earn a bigger piece of the pie. That's when you use a low T-ROAS goal, like say I only need 100%, or a high TCPA goal where it's like, just give me conversions under $100. Because you're willing to then have a higher CPC, you win, but you lose your profitability. So how do you make a target cost per acquisition or target return on ad spend model scale when it's not scaling? And that's a big restriction in the industry right now. It's like, well, I set my target ROAS or I set my target cost per acquisition and I can't spend over $200 a day. I'm trying to spend 1,000, can't spend over 200. And that has to be backed into with a different strategy. Not bidding strategy, a different traffic strategy inside of Google Ads. And typically what that means is, how do we teach the algorithm more about these users and how do we earn a bigger piece of that pie? And are we being restricted by Google because it doesn't know if the person's going to convert? Or are we restricted by Google because it doesn't think it's going to convert? So those are the two reasons why Google will not bid at a mass incremental impression volume is, well, we don't know if this person is going to convert, or we don't think this person is going to convert. That has to do with the time lag and the sales cycle. If majority of your clicks are one conversion after a click in the industry, or a really short subset of that, then T-ROAS and TCPA is going to have a massive struggle in scaling for your account, because it says, well, we saw 1,000 clicks today and 700 of them converted. And of the 300 that didn't convert, no one's really searching. Maybe 10 or 15 more people are continuing that search that day. And so I have 15 people that I'm going to now try to bid in a competitive ecosystem across 3 different advertisers. And you get 5, you get 5, you get 5. And so that's when you're just like kind of getting the leftover of the market. So, but when you have a longer sales cycle, like 20 or 30 days, you can scale up a little bit easier, but you still have a glass ceiling because it says, well, now I know that there is, 1,000 people searching and there's been, 1,000 clicks and only 150 of them converted. So now I have 850 and I'm watching them and now there's more to divide up. The problem is you get to have a point of scale when your competitors fail. That's kind of rhymes. It's kind of a cool saying.
Yeah.
So you kind of get, it's like when everyone else is failing to convert those people, now they're in Google's targeting and now they're watching it and now they're wondering when everyone should bid. But because Google gets to choose the bids, they get to choose who wins. So I'm trying to reverse that. And what I did is I said, okay, if Google is learning off of existing website traffic, if Google is learning off of existing online traffic, how do I put more people in that targeting? And this is something that we've already discussed, but I said I have it kind of, half baked and I was just starting to test it. Well, this last week I got a lot more data. And so I'd like to share with you 2 different use cases about how we're using the T-ROAS and TCPA along with a different campaign, a cloned campaign, but then it's kind of proven that scale out, which is really nice. So I'll just kind of dive into share screen because I work a little bit better explaining it with examples. So I'm going to share screen here. There we are.
Stage. There we go.
Community.
It's the famous screen.
The screen share. Yep. So with these are just 2 campaigns, but have been cloned. So we have people looking to get a real estate degree. And these are people who are looking to go to a community college. So what's interesting about this is you'll see that the bid strategy learning, I'm still in the thick of this. Like the community college one was just kind of more launched like 2 days ago, like changed. But what ended up happening before this, if we look at just like the 3rd through the 12th here, for example, is we have a campaign that is on manual that's spending and my T-ROAS is not spending enough. And this one had a T-ROAS of that was only spending $895, trying to spend, like $4,000 per day. And this, Max Clicks one didn't work at all. Like it hasn't started yet. Like this is the new one that was launched. So we went from spending $4,300 from this time period of 3rd to the 12th. But then the period after that, 13th through the 22nd, now we're spending $28,000. So it's a massive increase this last like 10 days. And these are campaigns that we couldn't spend on and want to spend on. We want to get up as high as possible. So we see that there's a 548% increase in cost in just this last, was it 7, 8, 10 days. So last 10 days, we scaled it up 548% and our conversion value went up 567%. So we have a more conversion value from our increase. So we're able to tack on additional, $24,000 in 10 days. We couldn't get over the $4,000 per 10-day period. That was the most we could spend in 10 days. Now we can spend $28,000. This is a massive scale. This is where on a T-ROAS, this is the most it could spend. Like it was not going anywhere, and it was not going anywhere for a while. These are not like all brand new campaigns that have been scaling to the moon. Like it was on like nothing. You can see now the lift. So these campaigns were not really spending much at all. It was like $600 and $500 a day. And now, yesterday, the day before, we're spending $4,000 a day. That's a massive improvement. And the reason why these things were not learning is because Google had no idea that a person's first click would work or not. So it didn't know.
It didn't know. And one way to find out, for example, if I go into the attribution area and let me hop into the actual account. I'm at the MCC level. If I go into the attribution area and I look at yesterday, for example, look at this. 77% of all the people that converted yesterday were within one interaction, one ad click. Jeez.
Now, what's crazy about this is if I was allowing all of my competition to give me their leftovers, I'm left over with this. And also actually even further out. I'm left over with all the people that clicked and didn't convert.
Right.
So with 77% of the people that converted yesterday were within one ad click, which means if I was allowing Ralph's company to get the 100 clicks and they had 77 conversions off those 100 clicks, like that converted within that first click. And then the leftover is, okay, hopefully the people there for the next 1 or 2 or 3 days will continue to search again. Google's holding my money saying, I need to, all the people that didn't convert on Ralph, they're going to search again. And hopefully Ralph doesn't get them. But if we can, we'll bid for you.
Right.
Also, only if we know.
Or they might split it up between like 3, like how many advertisers you have in this particular case.
Right. This one, there's, I mean, we're going up against national colleges. So yeah. It
So
was not going to work. Yeah, exactly. And so that's what sucks is like when we look at the auction insights of just this manual campaign, I got 9 competitors. And it's like WGU.edu. Like they're not small advertisers. They're Western Governors University, for example. Like I'm going up against the actual colleges and I'm trying to win against them. And who am I?
Have money. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm a nobody. I'm a lead gen site. I'm an aggregate site. So no one cares about me. I'm not developing a new and special unique thing for the industry. So when we're looking at why doesn't Google scale, it's because Google has no idea what they should scale into. It has no idea where to go. So when you run a max clicks campaign alongside of it, what ends up happening is this max clicks. If I just go like the last couple of days here, and I don't have all the revenue from yesterday, so the ROAS isn't real yet. Also, we only need to be above 100% for us to be profitable. That's why I'm using these metrics here. But I'll just take these two for example. These 2 campaigns here, the manual campaign, which it's called manual because I keep changing it. It's all on max clicks. But the max clicks campaign, what this did is it's now buying the people for $1.43, and it's giving them a really good positioning and placement. And yes, I'll win some sales here and there, but a lot of times what I'm getting the clicks for is really close related. So we have our keywords and our search terms look identical. How to become a realtor. These are all the stuff that we've gone through before, but I've been able to get really in depth with this now and kind of understand why. So we first started off on manual. I did high CPC. I said I was going to test low CPC. That was where we left off like 1 or 2 weeks ago. Now, when we're testing really low CPC, I get a much higher volume. What we end up finding is that when we go with low CPC, then the T-ROAS campaign can actually go a little bit higher CPC and actually earn more volume of traffic because there is a keyword conflict there.
Okay.
So what ends up happening here is those max clicks on manual allow for that broad match of T-ROAS to work really, really well. And we actually kind of find some cool stuff here. In the last 7 days, I actually ended up having to cut off a keyword because it started to non-perform. Now this week, this one here is starting to not perform here as well. Like, so I'm cutting off all the broad match ones because these broad matches are getting so smart. And Google is basically just saying like, as long as it has to do with like a real estate license, that's just going to be my winner, because all of my manual or all my max clicks is like all around a real estate license. You can see like real estate license is going to match for like pretty much all of the ones that are kind of converting at least a high ROAS.
Makes total sense.
It's really, really, really interesting how Google's just choosing. And that's why when you run broad match, you're like, I got 3 broad match keywords that show for everything. But that's when there's a high amount of search traffic for a well-established industry. But if you're looking to say, hey, there maybe isn't, or it's not growing, or I'm stuck, or I can't scale, or I can't grow, a max clicks exact match with high intent will tell Google, these are all the people that are clicking. And if I win some searches on them, great. If I can win searches on my max clicks, my max clicks campaign, great. This, sorry, not the community college, the real estate. If I look here, the last couple of days when this thing is starting to kind of scale up and I've been trying to make it a little bit more profitable, this one right here has basically paid for itself. So this campaign, my break even is 100%. So this $1,000 here that made 1,000 is just in order to get this 4,500 to make 64. And so now we spend 5,500, make 7,500. I got $2,000 in profit, pure profit now the last 2 days. That's great for 2 campaigns, for $2,000 profit. But this one basically ends up paying for itself. And so as you start to achieve a better result inside of your manual campaign, things like your positioning, your keywords, your search terms, like make sure you're doing your negative keywords. Like, don't just throw this thing out and be like, well, good enough. Like, try to see where your first clicks are coming in from that are actually working well, because that you can buy all those incrementally. So you have to focus on the keywords and search terms that are actually starting to work better. So this one right here is getting 127. Great. This one, again, you kind of see real estate license. Remember how that one's my winner inside of my T-ROAS campaign? It's also the winner inside of here. So you're kind of starting to find similarities between the two. So you're looking at a amalgamation of both. It is, what is my good quality search terms, whether you know about that person or you don't, because when you do know about that person also converts. So you're using one to feed the other. The people that are using these type of search terms are starting their journey. And I found one of like the closest exact starting points of my journey that most often converts, because my max clicks campaign is already delivering me, a really good 2x on that search term. So this one right here, how to become a real estate agent. This one works actually pretty well inside of the T-ROAS campaign, but not as good as that one. So as you start to find all of the negatives and positive in your keywords, like these are the ones that we have 713. And these are the ones that are left over. We started really wide.
So you whittled them down.
713, and we're left with 25 so far. And that 25 is now getting us better. And so now I'm going to look at what other ones am I going to start to shut off as well. Because if I can max clicks incrementally scale up my first click, which is also stupidly shared with my T-ROAS campaigns, which is kind of funny. So if I look at my all conversion column, for example, you'll have to actually take into consideration the data-driven attribution model as well. Where, okay, I do have all conversions here. My all conversions, these things are going to be split with my TCPA campaign. And so that's my all conversion value. Where's my all conversions? I had it in here. There we go. These things actually will be split with my other campaign. They're just on a different bidding strategy or a different attribution model right now. So what's really cool about this is if you're using a max click strategy to start the journey of these people, that also broad matched version of that in your T-ROAS campaign is then going to be able to use all that data and continually scale up. So it's a way to bolt on a sacrificial campaign, optimize a sacrificial campaign in order to make it as profitable as possible, so that when you take all of these campaigns in together, we are just now scaling this up. Then what I'm going to do is, after I get this thing up to about, 5-10 grand a day, I'm going to slap a nice T-ROAS on that thing and just hang tight, because I have now 119 other enabled campaigns that I'm going to be doing this with. So as we start to hyper segment, get it to a point of scalability, lock it in with a T-ROAS, do it all over again, 100 more times. So it's really interesting to see how this algorithm works, where you lock in a T-ROAS or TCPA, it doesn't scale. We are now cracking the code at how to buy all that traffic for you inexpensively, so that you're also the one that wins the return search wherever they're at in their journey.
My big question for you is this: if you do the maximized clicks or max clicks campaign, aren't you educating and feeding your competition if they're using the same strategy?
Yeah.
But you're doing that, but it still is working regardless.
Yeah, because they're doing it to me too. Anybody that's not using just a T-ROAS campaign, they're scooping up all that incremental. I'll never grow. It's kind of like the lesser of two evils. It's like, okay, if they are saying they will spend more money than me and they can be more aggressive than me, this is my halfway point in saying, well, if I can at least get more aggressive, or I can start to get more aggressive from them, I can spend less per click and less per day than my main campaign in order to feed it, so that I'm spending 1/4 or 1/5 of my total campaign's budget divided by 4/5 over here, 1/5 over here. But the traffic levels are actually fairly large. So what this means is that when you look at the community college here and community college here, these two that are together, as they start to scale up, if I just look at like where my costs start to actually increase now on 17th, this last kind of week, there we go. So this one started, this one's now growing. You can see that one's new, that one's here. It's funny, it's growing actually with a better ROAS, but the clicks, so I guess I'll just say interaction, this one has 1,000 and 1,500, and it spent 1,200 and 3,500. So it's got 3/4 of the amount of clicks for 1/3 of the budget. So if I can buy them and I can continually scale that, I can still keep my T-ROAS targets fairly aggressive. It's almost like, hey, do you know anything about these people? Because the T-ROAS campaign, now that they've hit my site, is going to bid for people more warmly. That's what T-ROAS wants to do. It wants to bid on warm traffic because that's how they predict. So I'm feeding in his own warm traffic with a higher volume, but for lesser ad spend. So it keeps me at least in line budget-wise.
But you're helping your competition at the same time. Like, doesn't that bother you at all? Like you're basically expanding the market by doing this strategy for all of your competition. Your competition is probably getting, if they're using T-ROAS, they're benefiting from what you're doing. Well, right? Or no? Am I looking at this the wrong way?
You would have to assume that all 10 competitors are also only using T-ROAS.
Okay.
I don't think they are.
Okay. So you're getting an inordinate amount of like that. I don't know. I look at this as like a retargeting strategy, really.
Yeah.
You know, like you're getting a click to your blog post, and then you're saying, hey, they went to your blog post, Google. So here's the T-ROAS campaign. Scoop all those people up because that shows intent.
Right.
Really.
And it's very similar to that. Yes. Yeah. And it's not, but instead of a blog post, it's like, hey, these are people that are thinking about doing it. They're just not ready today. Right. They're ready within 1, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 days from now, which is why this thing should continually scale up over the next course of a month or so.
Okay. And now, on that, on the click campaign, are you sending them to the same page that they're converting on?
Yep.
Okay. So there's no like pre-sale content. You're not trying anything post-click. It's the same damn thing. Like they click on it once, they're like, maybe. And then obviously Google now says search intent, T-ROAS kicks in. I'm going to go after them again. You know, they get flooded with ads, like your ads, hopefully, not your competitors' ads. And then that's how they convert.
So that's right. But they're flooded only on inbound, which is why it's also really restrictive. What ends up happening is if I'm assuming that my competitors are spending an amazing amount of money buying the conversions. And that is true. And what I'm trying to do is say, will Google allow my campaign to win the placement simply due to the fact that they've been to my website and they have not been to my competitor website?
Got it. There you go. So your placements, like as soon as you started doing, did you see your placements in your T-ROAS campaign all of a sudden start to rise?
Yes, it actually had a scale. And here's my thought. Here's a few things that I was looking at in order to say, is this working? Yeah. So, I'm going to share screen.
Oh, and somebody's calling this your feeder strategy. We haven't named it. We haven't named it yet.
I like it, Jose.
John's feeder strategy. Thanks for that, Jose. We're going to apply for a patent for that. John Moran feeder strategy.
Here's a sandwich. I'll just feed
it. It's like our call before. You were feeding yourself, so you are, now you're feeding Google on this call.
It's going to slowly turn into the hunger strategy if I don't continue to eat here.
That's right. That's a good-looking sandwich, by the way.
Thank you. That's. I don't deserve my wife, like I always say. She keeps me well fed.
A wife that feeds you lunch. She
just comes in and brings me a sandwich. I'm like, thank you.
Jen made me lunch yesterday. It was like the best lunch I've ever had. But anyway, go ahead.
It just tastes so much better.
I don't know what it is.
I know.
Right? Okay. Back to this. So back to your feeder strategy.
Yeah, the feeder strategy. So as my cost increased, my conversion value increased faster than that. So it's actually starting to become more efficient at scale. My conversion rate is going up and my CPC is staying the same. It's about the same.
Yep.
So then I look at my search
and this is the whole camp. This is everything here.
This is the 2 campaign. Yeah, this is the strategy put together.
Nothing else for this particular offer. Okay. Just want to make sure.
It's just bolting on a max click strategy alongside of my T-ROAS.
Yep.
And then what's funny is right here, I haven't even broken into anything in regards to even market penetration. I'm still barely scraping by.
So your search impression share less than 10%.
Tiny. It's either less than 10 or over 90 lost. So I'm still because my T-ROAS is saying like I'm gonna try to buy. Now theoretically, my search impression share should be high because search impression share says, hey, are you getting everything you're eligible for? Well, if I can't spend the full daily budget and I'm trying to spend $1,500 a day and it's not spending $1,500 a day, technically my search impression share should be high.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that yet.
Which tells you the TAM is very large or
it's still learning. Right.
It's still learning. Okay.
And this is scaling profitably in learning, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Usually people are like, well, wait for learning. Don't spend, don't go by 150% and don't add $2,000 in, 4 or 5 days while it's in learning. I'm like, no, I'm expecting it to learn.
Right.
I'm expecting it to perform better.
Because it's only been going since what, July? How long has
this one's been running for like 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It never got off the ground.
And you figured this out. Got it. So for those of you who haven't watched any of the previous YouTube lives, I highly recommend you go back, because this is actually part of the evolution. I'm sort of forgetting some of the individual details here. This strategy, this John feeder strategy, hunger strategy, is the way that this scaled, because you were frustrated. You weren't doing, this is an affiliate offer. Obviously, like, you weren't devoting that much time to it until you sort of figured out, well, wait a second, what if I try this? And this is sort of how it all kind of evolved. And so we're going through this in real time here, ladies and gentlemen. And it's early days with this strategy, but so far it's working out pretty well in a highly competitive niche. I used to sell leads in the education market back as an affiliate, but I did it through all like black hat strategies and like on Yahoo search, if you can imagine that, John. Right. But anyway, so I understand how competitive this friggin' thing is. And you're barely scratching the surface with this, based upon search impression share on the clicks campaign primarily, because it is learning.
Oh no, search impression share on T-ROAS. Yeah, that's what's crazy. Is a search impression share is based on eligibility. It's not based on market penetration. So basically says, like, are you getting what you're trying to get? And if I have a T-ROAS that's not spending all the money, but I'm hitting target, I theoretically am getting everything I'm trying to get. So typically T-ROAS, the search impression share is high. The fact that it hasn't come into my peripheral yet, in my view of an actual metric, is telling me A, it's still learning and it doesn't know, or B, it's growing and still hasn't had a figure, because we're spending more and more per day. So that's what I'm waiting for. So that was something I will know if it's helpful, if it's working. My next thing that I'm be checking is, am I getting a lot of just good one click, one sale type of ecosystem in my T-ROAS campaign? And we are. So we're definitely getting a lot more clicks, and we're definitely getting a lot more good ROAS. If I start descending my ROAS, like, that's what's cool, is like, there's broad match at work. Like, I don't even know what that is. Let's translate that to English. U.S. Community College ranking school. Well, I made 37,000 ROAS on that one, which is cool. But, because of that search term, only cost me 37 cents. Yeah. So what's nice about this is now I know I should be seeing this, and I should see things that are not really realistic, like Community College Online, free online classes for adults. I do have a lot of clicks into the free community college, free online, because this is covering also things like grants. So this is applicable for me. Okay. So that's what, and this is what I know I got paid on. Remember, I'm importing actual metrics from my sales figures, not just cost per leads. These are sold leads. And that's why I think that this is really important to say, like, yeah, it's, tracking it is correct. So
and just pause there for a second. And how are you doing that? Because I know we did explain that, I think, in a previous video, previous live. Through an API. Okay.
Yeah. When it gets sold within 24 hours, it pipes into Google. And when it matches G-Code, G-Braid, W-Braid, then it shows up, which is only about like a 70% match rate, 80% match rate.
Got it. So you're missing something, but you know that you're doing well if you're like at these figures here.
Yeah. Like if this is over 100, I know I'm making probably over 120%. Yep.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yep. So that's what's nice is now where I would see this working, am I getting more kind of like one click, one conversion? And those I should see the amount of them rise, and I am. Right. Because it was trying to do that for a long time and never did. So if it's like saying, okay, now this thing can actually start to get all of the sales that I've been asking it to since, let's see, start of the campaign in January. So that's where it's like, okay, if it has struggled since then and hasn't got off the ground, now it actually can. So that's what's cool, is this thing is actually, and this is in an account that has ran since August of 2019. Like, this is not new shit to this account. Like, it has been a long time. It just has fizzled out, whittled out, and died as automated bidding became more prevalent and Google went from selling traffic to selling leads. And so, like, this thing was spending $100K a month back in 2020, 2021. And then it went all the way down to spending like $9K a month in 2023 in November. So this is our way to bring it back.
Because
of the transition.
What changed there, just for the audience? Like, I forget what happened.
I'll share a screen here. So you'll see everything that's ever happened in this account.
I got to get out of my full screen mode. See, I have to go to full screen mode to see like what's going on because I'm like,
yep.
Or so either that or I need to like up my amplification of my glasses here.
Zoom in.
Zooming.
So this is like 2019. This is when this thing started. This is the height of this thing, spending like $200,000, $250,000 a month. And then they got like really good at spending 100 and making 170, 190. Like this thing was making 80, 90,000 profit per month. And then it started to get kind of like worse and worse. And then in January and February this year, last year, this is also when we saw Google kind of defaulting to maximize conversions and auto apply T-ROAS and TCPA, and things just kind of like went down from here. And it was, try to make it a little bit better, but it costs 137,000, making 82. And I started working on them, and now we're like, okay, let's see if we can get this into now back into profitability, which we have this month technically. But we have 90 campaigns that are failing and now like 2 campaigns that are profitable. So we're going to restructure the entire account with this new strategy to get it back up to volume, but back up to profitability.
And that's all your work. This is John all the way through.
No, I was recent on this one.
Oh, you're recent on this one. Okay. So whoever it was very happy at one point in time with those lines obviously diverging.
Yeah. I mean, there's now 100. And what was interesting about this is they were actually going through and taking all of the automated bidding search terms. So like how much does it cost to get free education in Ohio during the winter? Like all of those like crazy long, search terms, they converted them into keywords. So what they did is they took Google's singular snapshot in time for Bob, what worked for Bob, and then said, let's go put manual bidding to that. And that is going to say, well, that worked for Bob, but it's not going to work for everybody else. They don't have the same path that Bob did. Right. So what ended up happening was over time, they grew to like tens and thousands, 100,000s of keywords. Then they grew to tens of thousands, 100,000 of negative search terms. And they went from allowing Google to bid for a person to say, no. Everybody must have that sort of same journey.
Got it.
And so if we split them out and say, well, these people will start on their journey, but then that will feed the automated algorithm to know who to bid on when we told them who to bid on. And so those two together should rise, but it should also be at a spend level that is profitable during scale.
Right. Yeah. So whoever that was very frustrated, and probably like whoever was managing the account. And you got it, and you tried it. You tried some things, and were probably frustrated until you sort of came upon the John Feeder strategy.
Right. Because I just started thinking about it, and I was like, if it's going, actually, Wicked is the one that showed us this. Wicked was like when I looked into my T-ROAS and TCPA campaigns, all of the traffic was half warm. I'm like, that makes a shit ton of sense now.
Right. So you need to get them to click once. And then
before it can predict, because it doesn't predict because it knows.
Predict.
Yeah, it's not like Ralph's first search ever. We believe a 200 row. I know it's not that good. Yeah, it's not just like here's Ralph's first search. You would never be able to. It's like guess a number between 1 and 1 billion. It's not good to know like 6, but if you're like I guess 42, it's like all right, well it's probably going to come back with another something around 40 because that's what they guessed last time. Like it's taking pattern recognition and learning from it. Right. And that's why it's so important when I look in the account, I'm like 75 and 78 and 80% of these people will convert after 1 click during, the entirety of the account.
Right.
So that would mean that the sales cycle is short, which means I can't afford for someone else to learn or someone else to teach itself that traffic. They're going to scoop up the majority. So when everyone else says bidding against those people are like maximize everything, they have the highest chance of getting that first click and that second click.
Right.
So if I'm only asking for the second click, like, hey, I only have a warm traffic campaign, please be right one time. It's like, I have no idea. These people convert with 1 click. How am I supposed to know what's going to happen before their first search? So I just never earned any of that traffic. Google didn't know.
My CRO brain goes to you're sending both campaigns to the same page. And obviously we've got a lot of questions here that we've got to answer here, but my CRO brain thinks like, why wouldn't you do like a separate type of like split test a page like that maybe has more juicy content on like what, how to help these individual people. I haven't seen the landing page yet, but something like that so that you can then increase your conversion rate even more on your T-ROAS campaign because they've consumed some level of content. Am I wrong in my thinking there, or is that like maybe a strategy at some point?
That would absolutely be a great strategy. We couldn't do it with this because we have to follow. There's an inter company, like an intermediate company,
Okay.
that we have to follow their rules, like literally like what drop downs they choose, what they read, how it's positioned. There has to be this 3-4 month pay. Like they have really
highly regulated. Yeah, got it.
We're actually this is an expansion strategy to what it is working for them organically.
Right.
So
like,
it's
as an affiliate, well, I mean, I hate to admit the things that I used to do, but you know, I needed to make money, you know, and that's how I learned this stuff. Is I would create for all my affiliate offers, I would create pre-sale pages, and they were usually fake news sites.
Yeah.
Or there were fake blogs, which we called flogs, you know. And on all we did is just blue links on all the pages. And so in essence, we were getting all the information from a news site. Channel6newsnow.com was my site, by the way, John, which made me hundreds of thousands of dollars, like of my own money every single month. Like my American Express bills were like hundreds. I was paying like writing checks for $100,000 every single month. But they worked so well, and all they were is like pre-sell to an affiliate offer, and it was in most cases like sort of slimy, scummy.
Yeah, you were like the people who invented like clickbait.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But hey, I've been reformed. We run a legitimate agency here for the last 10 years, but a lot of the tactics that I learned all this shit is like it was crazy scummy.
Yeah. I got into affiliate by like finding people I could bid on their brand name for. And I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dude, that's how I started. Like that was my first affiliate offer, believe it or not, was P90X. I just outbid everybody on P90X, sent them to a pre-sale page. I built an entire P90X site, and then I did it for Insanity. And then I made so much money on those, all pre-sale, and I was just bidding on brand terms.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's how everyone was kind of getting started in affiliate. They're like, oh, and that's why I love when people are like, well, my brand campaign is doing really well. I'm like, my brand campaign did well, and I was an affiliate. I'm like, I didn't have to do anything. That's, I think that's it's really close to what I'm using here, though. It's almost like the first search to get the kind of, tagged to fire the RLSA to tag that person, the bidding strategy to wait for them to come back. Like, because we know that the T-ROAS and TCPA predicts off of return traffic, that's how it can predict. And it waits to spend it on that return traffic. That's how it doesn't spend any more money. I'm like, okay, so if you need a higher volume of people with higher intent, why don't I just clone the campaign and bring them in myself?
Yeah, makes sense.
And so far, it's been working the best on max clicks, honestly. That's the bidding strategy. So it's really cool. And it's so nice to be able to kind of see the changeover between the non-profitability and into profitability on a graph that is just going to like this. I'll share screen again. But if I take like the time period equals weekly for these, like the kind of before was spending 5,000 to make 2,500. And then now it's like spending 14,000 to make 18,000. And then we don't have the full weekend yet, but spending 14,000 to make 15,000. It's like it went from hemorrhaging $2-3 grand a day to now making $2-3 grand a day. This is, while it's in learning, basically. Like this is still 3 out of my 4 campaigns are still in learning mode. Like when this thing's optimized by negative keywords, like it's a game over.
It'll be beautiful. Yeah. And bear in mind, like your goal is to basically break even on this. Right, because on the back end, your commission is whatever it is, which we don't have to divulge. But the point is, it's like what your numbers are. Yeah. And even though
over 100%, we split 50-50.
Okay, pretty damn good. Yeah. I know, so if you could actually get it to a better T-ROAS like that, all the better.
Yeah, which is why I'm like, why don't we spend 20 grand a week?
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah. All right. So those of you who have never done affiliate marketing, like this is a super interesting case here. And this is the great place to test these sort of things. Really, this is a great testing ground. This is why it's so cool to be able to do these. Let's get to some questions here. We've got a bunch. We've got 16 minutes left here. Our tour comes every week. Hello, John and Ralph. Always looking forward to Friday. I had a conversation with a client that y'all recommended. They totally got it. Love it. Way to go, our tour. Qasim's hair. You are not getting good hair on these, unfortunately.
No. This is Ralph and Chrome Dome.
This is lots of forehead here, not hair. You know what's funny? I was Googling around something and I found an old video of you and Cosmos like from 3 years ago, and his hair is only like down to here.
Yeah.
But it, yeah,
oh, I remember him.
I was like, who was that guy? Did he really?
I've been with Cosmos since he had like kind of medium hair to like buzz cut to now like long flowing locks. It's yeah, I've had 3 different business partners in that one person over the last like 10 years.
That's right. That's right. He's transformed just based upon the hair.
Right.
It sounds like Anthony is actually was maybe watching back then. He said, I've been watching since 2021. Look at that. That's good.
That was pre-long hair days, Anthony.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That was back when like Cosm had like a corporate look.
In digital marketing, that's what, times 7, like dog year. That was 21 years ago.
That was 21 years ago. Yeah. I feel like I've aged 21 years since then. All right. So Anthony has a question. Manufacturer that sells directly on their website is right next to us on Google Shopping and wins every sale. We've tried to demonstrate the added value of ordering from us, faster shipping, etc. He might have a follow-up on this somewhere.
There's 2. Yeah. Oh no, that was another person.
Yeah.
Okay. So manufacturer that sells directly on their website right next to us. So I have another company. It sells luggage and biggest luggage brands that you know. It's my personal company, so we sell like Samsonite and Briggs and Riley and all the other ones.
You're going against some heavy hitters in that space. Oh yeah.
And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know that when you type in like Samsonite, I owned Samsonite, Briggs and Riley, I owned it. Like all the shopping ads were all mine. And the way that we did that is we ran fake GMC promotions. So it gets a little gray, but
please explain.
Yes. So how you would do this is Google favors the advertiser campaigns that have a sale. And you can actually see this in real time. What I mean by that is I'll you know what? Let me share screen again. So check this out. Air purifier. So if you look at air purifier,
Anthony didn't realize he was going to get his very own screen share here. So
yeah, right. Well, you've been watching for 3 years, about time. So if you type in air purifier, you get like 1, 2, 3 here. If you type in air purifier sale, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of these things here. Yeah. So what ends up happening, and people a lot of times in your search terms will have things like, bulk or sale or discount or price or best price, those type of things that people are ready to buy. So what we did is we ran a fake GMC promotion. If your product was $200, we'd mark it up to $200 or to $300 and then have it on sale for 33% off. So we wouldn't violate MAP, but we would get the best position for all the high quality, really low bottom of the funnel, high search intent conversions. So if you typed in like Samsonite sales, Samsonite discount, Samsonite bulk pricing, Samsonite best, all those things like there, we owned all of those keywords. If you just type in Samsonite, we own about half. So we would actually own the entire search page because we were getting GMC promotions. So we just owned all of that. And so when you run a sale, you automatically get better positioning pretty much across the board if you're bidding about the same. And then what's nice is if you have a lot of different variables of those SKUs, one way to do that would be to clone the product, change the image, and then give it a new item ID. Sometimes you can put together like 4 or 5 basically similar items. And so you can actually expand your position.
Right. So you can monopolize the top on Google Shopping in essence.
Yeah, so you can take over your positioning and your placement all with fake GMC ads. Now, what's nice about this is you can run them for a maximum of 60 days. That's as long as you can run a sale. Or sorry, 6 days, 6 months. That's as long as you can run it. So I had like all these campaigns going, and I had little alarms set at my calendar. I'm like, tomorrow my sale ends. I have to go in there and like close the sale and restart it, and then I get another 6 months. So I just run this thing for 6 months on end. And so that was if I'll see if I can find it on my LinkedIn, but that is an area that if you look through my LinkedIn posts, that will tell you that will give you like a screenshot of what this thing looks like. When people actually, you know what? Hold on. I think I found it. Let me share screen again. Yeah. Here. Yeah. So you type in, actually, let me do this. Copy image address. And you type that into here. There you go. Look at that. Bricks luggage. There's me. Yeah. Traveler. See, sale. So you type in Bricks luggage and you don't see Bricks anywhere. It was all me.
Yeah.
So as long as you can get the SKUs to show up for it or duplicate SKUs, if you only have one SKU and you run GMC promotion, you own the entire. And Bricks is a manufacturer. You could look them up. They're out of Italy. You could not find them on search. I owned everything.
Wow.
So, little pro tip there.
That's a tip right there, Anthony. You can send the check to PO Box Sagamore Beach, Mass. I don't know what your address is, John. All right, Arthur.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm butchering his name, but anyway, he's been on.
It's like an Irish person saying Arthur.
So then it's less about needing to be in the first position. That's why you're doing maximizing clicks, most amount of clicks on the budget, medium placement. We were talking about the John Feeder strategy from before.
Yeah, so I don't need to be the first considered. I just need a visit to my site, and I also need a chance for them to convert, or I need to find out what is the most commonly first searched item or a commonly searched item that most people will use in their journey before they convert.
Got it. Okay. Makes sense.
I did use high positioning. I had like $5 clicks. $5 clicks were also not converting. My $3 TCPA and T-ROAS campaigns were. So I was bidding $2 more and I was getting less. But what that did is actually stopped the T-ROAS campaign from spending enough because I was feeding it less volume.
Okay. So you started at $5.
Yeah.
A $5 bid for your clicks only, like super high, just so you could see like because you had an idea from the T-ROAS campaign what your click cost was going to be. How did you figure out $5 to start?
I literally was sophisticated wild ass guess. I'm gonna share screen again, but you'll kind of see everything here.
A wild ass guess.
So I was testing like max, or I was testing like manual CPC, and then you saw me going like from $3 down to like $2.8. Oh, sorry.
There we go.
So you see, I was testing like, I was testing like $2.50. I went down to like $2.18, and then I was like $4.85, 83. I was getting $5. And then I was like, okay, what if I go from $5 down to like $1.50? My clicks went from 100 up to like 360, and this is when we saw the largest amount of scale is these last 4 days.
Okay. And so that took from July 24th to August. Like that was a long time. That's a lot of testing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This things isn't just like shower thoughts. Like this thing, it's hard work.
Right. Well,
they started shower thoughts, but I gotta fucking test it all.
Right. Do you have like one of those like thingies in the shower that you write stuff on? Like as you're like,
I take half-hour showers
as you're shampooing.
I know, right? I'm waiting for my conditioner to set in. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'll be in the shower for like a half hour, just like staring at something, and my wife will come in, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm like still showering." I just like get into deep thought in the shower. I don't know why. Fun fact about John Moran:
the things we didn't know about John Moran. All right, so Arthur has another question here. What's the difference in results between manual CPC test and maximize clicks test from an overall MER standpoint, media efficiency ratio? Of course, if you don't know what that means, are you using YouTube engagement for the optimization goal?
So for my max clicks, yes. And that's actually, thank you for asking this. I did not cover this. I do not track conversions in my max clicks or my manual CPC tests. I'm now on max clicks for the foreseeable future. That's been working the best because it whittles us down to the lowest possible CPC that I could pay for those exact search terms. So quality is really good, CPC is really good, and volume is really good. So but I will not track a conversion in my manual or my max clicks campaign, because what that will do is it will take it away from my T-ROAS campaign, because when there is a specific conversion value that Google thinks can be had, it's going to give it to the campaign that has the best performance. And I want that campaign with the best performance to be my T-ROAS campaign so that it earns that sale. So my max clicks campaign, I do a secondary conversion action of my imports. My primary one is it's literally I put something fake in there. I'll share screen real quick so you just kind of see this. Check this out. My one that's on my manual is this bad boy right here called fake goal. I made a new one. It's not going to work. But that fake goal is what I'm using for my other campaigns that are on my max clicks. I just use this called fake goal, and it never converts. So anytime a search term comes in that has a potential monetary value, T-ROAS wins.
That's perfect. Could you potentially do the same thing in a video? Like obviously this is an affiliate offer. It's regulated. Could you do like the feeder campaign for video views, just like just getting video views on YouTube and then taking those audiences and saying, oh, they're pre-qualified. Google is Google, no matter what. It's YouTube, it's Google. I'm just thinking of other ways in which to kind of do this. It's like, have you ever tried that strategy, or that maybe is
I already have a test running on that, but you have to use PMAX at the same time. That one died, but using that with PMAX, yes. And I'm verifying it by post-purchase survey data. It went from 4% of all my sales that come from YouTube to 12 and 18 by only doubling the budget. Took up 3/4 of my post-purchase, or increased by triple of self-reported post-purchase survey.
No kidding. Well, that'll be
another thing that we're going to be coming through. So stay tuned.
I can't wait for that one, because you can see that so you'd be able to see it so easily inside of Wicked, provided that you're getting that tracking, between the two. So anyway, so that's more to come. Jose V asks, the John feeder strategy. Thanks for naming John's strategy, by the way. Can search campaigns on manual max clicks bids with exact match help tag customers for a standard shopping campaign using T-ROAS?
Yes, I wouldn't see why not. I think this is actually a hack of the standard shopping version of this, which is priority bidding rather than using bid strategy to filter. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see why. Now here's my
reason why not. Yeah.
Here's my slight question to you. I would still use a priority, low priority, high priority, low priority for generic search terms, high priority using T-ROAS, low priority max clicks inside of shopping, because a search click and max clicks versus a shopping click on like a manual CPC is still going to be 2 to 3 times more expensive. So I would actually use your first starting point as a person who clicked on a shopping ad from a max clicks or a manual CPC, because they have shopping intent first, and it's still going to be half the price of your max clicks on search.
Interesting. Okay. So what Jose V is asking here is, would the same strategy work in the e-commerce space, is my guess.
But I think he was asking to use search campaigns for people to help his shopping campaigns. Yes, but I would use a shopping campaign to help your T-ROAS shopping campaign.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Even better. Makes sense. Have you tested that?
Oh yeah, that's actually a standard in the industry to do multi-level low high priorities for shopping.
Got it. All right. Good question, Jose. Jose just gives. All right, John Moran's dog is back.
Hey.
For the search campaigns with T-ROAS that you mentioned is configured as an RLSA campaign. If so, are they using targeting settings? Additionally, which audience are you targeting? Setup, please.
I'm actually not using an RLSA. RLSA and an automated bidding is already kind of built in. That's what's nice, because when you're using an automated bidding, if you use an RLSA, the reason why you use an RLSA is to adjust the bid higher for the person who's ready to come back. When you use an automated bidding, you can't adjust the bids anymore for audiences because it's automated bidding. So RLSA is already built into T-ROAS and TCPA. That's how they predict it. So for the matter of fact that if you are on T-ROAS or if you're on TCPA, it is already using its own tagged version of an RLSA to know when I should bid for the person who is coming back. That's how it predicts.
Okay. We're going to go into rapid fire mode here because we've got 2 minutes left.
All
right. Dave Ashley was the first one, and then we'll just kind of go through them. So I won't read this one out, but
I have not found anything in portfolio bidding strategy that will scale. No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, when we set the caps too low, we basically just don't pay for the onesie twosies that will win because it usually hits a weird ceiling. So I have not found it. I know people who have been successful. I have never seen anybody scale a portfolio strategy to like the 4, 5, 6K per day that I'm trying to hit.
Got it. Okay. Anthony's question here.
What am I going to do? Yes. So I would say that one, if we're looking at that strategy, run fake GMC promos.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay. Tyler.
What's the impact of TCPA adjustments on impression share? Could you break down how those work together? So if the TCPA campaign adjustments on impression share means, are you eligible for it? So if you hover over your impression share column, it says the amount of searches or amount of impressions you received on a search network divided by the estimated number of impressions you were eligible to receive. What that means is that if you're saying, give me everybody that is going to get a 100% T-ROAS conversion and below, and you max out your daily ad spend of $5,000 and you only get 1,000, you're going to have a high search impression share because you're eligible to receive 100 of those 500, and you got 100 of those 500 because that's what you're eligible to receive based on your bids and budget and rank and all that kind of stuff.
Got it. Makes sense. Anthony's question here. Read this one off quick.
All right. I have tried some sales, but not on the same scale as you, and we had high bounce rate. Some feedback was customers didn't know the discounted price since GMC forces you to show it at checkout only.
Interesting. So you get a lot of cart abandons. Sounds like the same scale. Yeah, the high bounce rate.
GMC forces you to show it at checkout only. I'm not sure what that means. I'm sorry.
You can show it at the ad in the ad level.
Oh, right? I would say run GMC promotions, but make sure they're code. And that was a part I missed. make sure it's a code. So you have to use a discount code and then auto apply that discount code in every cart.
Got it.
That's why people don't have to remember the code. Yep.
Okay. So that will solve that problem for you.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Tyler again, consolidating different match types, keywords into one campaign.
Never do
about that. Never do it.
Broad match will always cannibalize everything else.
Yep. Got it.
Eventually.
And then I think John Moran's dog has a secondary question here.
Consumer client, news store, large wholesale brand aiming for high ROAS in Google Ads. I recommended cold traffic. Client concern that not bidding on their brand will let wholesale capture. Yes, I would say that. Yeah, if you're a large wholesale brand and they also want D2C, my opinion is as an oxymoron of a business, it's like you almost kind of have to like choose one or the other, because otherwise you're going to start to try to sell to all of your people who are distributing for you, but then you're going to beat them when they want to buy from those people. So I would say you kind of have to pick a lane, or just know that you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're only going to be proficient in one or both areas, or one or the other areas, not fully perfect in both.
Got it. And this is probably going to be our last question here, because we're 1 minute over. But John Moran's dog, he's one of our favorites, just because we love your dog. Nomad has limited budget, 80-90% traffic with PMax and brand search recommendation. Limited budget sounds like here.
Nomad has limited budget, 89% brand traffic with PMax plus brand search recommendation. Yes, you need to get off of PMax.
Yeah, there you go.
You need to start some first-time searches that are not already there for people already looking for you.
John Moran is no longer a fan of PMax. So although there's some cases, maybe we can talk about that in next week's live.
There's strategic cases, but it is never just like, let's try PMax. It's like, wait a minute, are all these pieces of the puzzle fitting this way? Okay, then PMax can go there.
Right. And so, by the way, we do this every week, 2:30 Eastern. So I know we didn't get to every single question here. I apologize for that. Definitely come back next week.
Wait, next week I will actually not be in town. It's my daughter's birthday, and we're taking her to Disney World. So, for everyone, I love you all here, but I choose my daughter first. My apologies. But we're gonna choose a new time for next week. That will be coming out soon, and we'll post on our social. So if you're not following us, follow us on LinkedIn. Just actually go to tier11.com and fill out the I need to hire you guys, and then pay us like our normal monthly fee. And then I'll tell you when it's going to be next week. That's an easy way to get a hold of us.
If you give us money, we'll tell you exactly when it's going to be. So we don't know exactly next Friday, but
we're going to hold your ransom.
Yeah, you got it. We'll hold your ransom until then. So make sure that you do subscribe to the Tier 11 YouTube channel at the very least. That gives you notifications right on your phone. I got a notification today that John Moran and Ralph Burns were going live. I was like, wow, I got to join. So definitely do that. So thank you once again, John.
Thank you,
everyone, for participating. We will see you next week.
Sometime.
Time and day to be determined.
Follow us on YouTube and LinkedIn to know more.
That's it.
Awesome.
See you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.